The report we are here to release today, Agenda 2007, a new framework and direction for U.S. farm policy, is the result of nearly 2 years of input from a very diverse cross-section of American agriculture. Today you'll hear from 3 of the nation's top agricultural leaders. You'll hear that change is coming to U.S. farm policy. You'll hear that the status quo is no longer an option, and that there's a plausible alternative to the existing policies that can meet the needs of all of agriculture. Many producers support these changes because they help meet their needs and help make them more competitive in a global economy. It is apparent that many other stakeholders and the public are also ready to join hands with agriculture in support of a new farm bill that will strengthen the future of U.S. agriculture and expand the benefits of our farm policy for the nation. AFT's Agenda 2007 lays out a new framework and policy recommendations to foster more market-oriented farm policies that will enhance U.S. farmers' competitiveness in both the global and local marketplace, to protect our precious natural resources, and to promote more vibrant rural communities.
AFT's safety net options would provide a transition away from the counter-cyclical and loan deficiency payments. Instead of continuing policies rooted in the 1970s, AFT wisely sets the stage for a 21st century farm policy that meets the needs of a 21st century agriculture and global economy. And one of the reasons why I climbed off the corn planter to come to Washington this morning is to impress on everyone the idea that we need to begin now in thinking about a rational period of transformation.
I heartily endorse AFT's efforts here. In light of what John said, I think there are 2 important words here. One is transition, to get us from point A to point B, but the more significant word is transformation. And that's what we're talking about here, a transformational approach to take us into a new world, so we're not just building on the status quo, so that fundamental changes continue to be pushed back forever and ever. It has always struck me that agriculture needed to do a much better job of creating allies, partners, other stakeholders. But you've got so many other stakeholders out there in international business, domestic business, energy producers, consumers, religion, conservation, health, in addition to farmers and ranchers. And what this proposal does is lays a groundwork for a broader coalition of people. And that may make some folks nervous in traditional production agriculture, but in my judgment, it is the leading to the true strength of where this movement goes, which is that agriculture has a much more promising, even stronger role in the American economy in the future, and that this proposal brings more people into the mix, which I think from political circumstances we will need. There are exciting opportunities for farmers and ranchers, from global markets to local farmers markets, to renewable energy. New farm policy must do much more to promote better nutrition. One of the things that's almost everyone is talking about today in a bipartisan sense is how to weave issues such as diet, health, and nutrition, better nutrition for all sectors of the population in this country, into an agricultural farm bill, and both in terms of rewarding people who produce specialty crops, as well as trying to get better nutrition to all segments of the American economy.
I hope we stimulate a lot of thinking within the community that's interested in the welfare of American agriculture as we move forward. We ought to be designing the American farm policy structure for the first half of the 21st century. We shouldn't be trying to rely on one that was designed for the Depression years of the 1930s. We should be able to deliver services and benefits to American agriculture, to rural America, without exposing those to challenge by the global community. And I believe we can do that, and this framework lays out some opportunities for achieving that objective. We ought to be trying to design something that's much broader based, if you will, for all of American producers, and for that matter, would have a broader base for all of rural America as a whole, and AFT has done a really first-rate job of doing that. If anything, this framework ought to make American producers feel more comfortable about change than they do today. People are naturally resistant to change. People naturally have a fear of the unknown. Farmers are no different from anybody else in that respect. But the fact is, what the American Farmland Trust has laid out here is a lot of ways in which one can legitimately justify the flow of taxpayer resources to rural America for a lot of years to come, but do it in a different fashion from the way we do it today.
I think as American agriculture folks look at what their options are, and the more that we can discuss where we're headed, then we've got a chance to begin to make change. But I know that if we remain locked where we are, American agriculture becomes less competitive, and we have to confront that. And the hope is to begin this dialogue.
I think the farmer gets the final word here. Thank you, John. I want to thank John Hardin and Secretary Glickman, Secretary Yider for their participation. Also thank Ron Warfield, who couldn't be with us today. And finally, I want to thank the hundreds of farmers who gave a lot of time to participate in workshops and fly into meetings and give us their best input. I think they all deserve our gratitude. We hope that this framework begins a conversation of a different kind of farm bill, that it stimulates thinking, that it shows that there are plausible alternatives to the current structure that are not so onerous that we should be afraid of them, that we should start to embrace change and work toward the proper kind of change.